Hello, everyone. Welcome to the PSAI Impactful Speaker Awards 2025 LinkedIn Live podcast, which is the final round to decide the winner. We began this journey with a bold intention to recognize and celebrate the power of impactful communication. We believed that words, when spoken with authenticity and purpose, could inspire, influence, and drive change. And today, here we are, witnessing that vision comes to life. Through a rigorous selection process, we have discovered speakers whose voice captivate, empower, and transform. These exceptional speakers have proven that the ability to communicate is the ability to influence. As finalists, they will share their insight and expertise in this exclusive LinkedIn Live podcast, bringing their impactful message to a global audience on the topic why this effective communication is the key to influence. The journey culminates to the Grand Awards Night on 21st February 2025 at Radisson Blu, Mumbai, where the winner will be revealed in the evening of celebration. On that night, we will not only crown winners, we will honor voices that shapes industries, challenge norms, and create lasting impact. So get ready to be inspired to witness the future of impactful speaking. And I welcome once again to the PSAI Impactful Speaker Award finalist event. And let's celebrate the spirit of storytelling, the courage of our finalists, and the journey that lies ahead. I truly wish all the very best to all the finalists, and I really want to applaud for all the finalists to make it till here. But before I invite speakers, I would like to invite our organizing committee member to say a few words. And for that, I would like to invite our membership chair, Esther Indulkar, who is human-centric leadership expert, a TEDx speaker, and a corporate trainer. Esther, we are keen to hear you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Devesh. Today is an exciting day for all of us. Uh, not just because it is a live event, not just because it's the finalist who are speaking, but this is one of our very new initiative which we decided to launch this year. For all the listeners who are listening, we know and that professional speaking industry is estimated to be worth around $2 billion industry. However, this potential is still picking up pace in India. And PSAI, as the representing body for professional speaking in India, is working every day to have as many impactful speakers as possible to know about us, to know about this industry, and make the most of it. And with this thought, we had decided that this year, with the guidance of all the senior members in PSAI, we would launch this award to make the speakers who really can impact with their speeches, with their messages, to showcase their talent, because uh, we always want this opportunity to have as many people who can impact as many lives as possible. And that brought us to Impactful Speaker Award. And no better time than launch it at the PSS 2025 Mumbai. And so I'm very happy. I'm very thankful to all the finalists and everybody who nominated themselves. They were ready to test the waters. And we got an amazing response, out of which we had some great speakers who made it as finalists. And I just want to wish each one of you all the very best for this. And I can't wait to meet all of you at the Grand Gala dinner in Mumbai on the 21st Feb. Thank you, Devesh. Over to you.
Thank you, Esther, for your great words. And I truly agree with you that we are really excited to meet each and every one in Mumbai during the gala dinner. But yes, without any further ado, let's now begin with the speeches from all the speakers who must be eagerly waiting now. So our first speaker is Abhirup Banerjee. But before I invite him, let me just introduce him briefly. So Abhirup Banerjee is a dynamic professional speaker and international trainer specializing in leadership, team building, and corporate learning solutions. With a background in human resources, he combines technical expertise with strong facilitation skills to drive impactful training programs. Abhirup, the stage is all yours. You have 4 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you so much, and thank you, everyone. Okay, so have you ever thought, that, or have you ever experienced, whenever maybe you're speaking to your friend or anyone, or that whenever you said something and the other person like got very angry or became very upset, and then you felt that what did I say that he reacted in this way or she reacted in this way? I did not say anything like that. Well, my dear friends, that is the start of an effective communication. A lot of times we think communication is speaking or like, I'm speaking to you. But the main aspect of communication, effective communication, is what I'm sharing with you. Are you really understanding in the same way, the way I want you to understand? It is a two-way thing, which is a very basic of effective communication. But the fact is, this starts from a basic aspect of how the communication model works. Now, how the communication model works. So let's say we get a lot of information. Like right now I'm speaking, you might be watching something else, or you might be, distracted with something else. And, there's too much of information around us. And we generally take 5 to 9 chunks of information within us. Now, as the information we take, we generally what we do is that we either delete, distort, or generalize because we have filters in our mind. And with these filters, when we work, the entire conversation or a situation or anything that we see, we create our own picture back of the head. Now, depending on what kind of beliefs, what kind of background, what kind of generalization. So some people thinks that if this happens, then this is right. Like I have a good friend of mine. She thinks that a certain people or certain boys, because she's looking for marriage, certain boys from a certain particular location are like this. Now, no matter how much that may happen, that person will always think that they are like this, no matter how much the other person tries to impress her, right? And that is the perspective that he or she comes in, that comes from the beliefs and the value systems where we use our filters. And as we use our filters, what happens? We click the picture, and accordingly, the state and the physiology comes in, and the behavior comes in, and we become either angry or sad. The main basis of effective communication, or when we get into a conflict, is just because of this, because we are not being able to understand from which context that other person is saying. Now, this context is again very important. Something with there's a lot of content which is there, but in what context and what I am understanding. I'll give you a very quick short example which happened with me. So I was in a seminar. I was networking with some people. It was an education seminar, and I was in a deep discussion with a particular professor. And as I was discussing with him, we were using this particular lingo called SME. And he was also using SME, and I was also in SME. And another 30 seconds, 40 seconds, in a minute or so, I was kind of feeling that somewhere something is a gap. What exactly is happening? I'm not being able to reach this person. Then I actually asked him, sir, what do you understand by SME? And he answered, why? Subject matter expert. And I was like taken aback for a while. Okay. Because all this time when I was talking SME, I was thinking it is small and medium enterprises, because, as an entrepreneur, that's I keep talking about. Now, a lot of times we use these jargons, but we don't know whether the other person actually understands that. Has it ever happened with you that you've been talking and you suddenly felt that it's not reaching that audience? Maybe they're nodding and etc. And in this perspective, listening becomes a very, very keen aspect. Where I have been training a bunch of leaders here in this country. I'm out of country right now as I'm doing this live. And a very interesting aspect, they feel that they all do meetings and they all speak, But when you speak, do you really understand whether this person is understanding or not? So, a very core aspect of speaking is also a listening, which we all know. But listening, how? How do you express that you're really listening? Do you take notes? Do you take no? Do you take notes, or do you nod your head? Do you acknowledge? And one of an interesting technique of whether you're sure whether your message has been passed or not, or is something which we call paraphrasing. What is paraphrasing or summarize? So let's say I've given a set of instructions to you. I would ask you, so can you tell me what have you understood, so that I understand? A lot of people say, no, I've understood. I don't have to explain it to you. But still you make it sure that they tell you, they paraphrase, so that you understand what they have understood exactly, whether both of you are in the same page or not. And the same way, when you're receiving instructions, then also it is very important that you share the same thing, that is this what I have understood? And in all these aspects, one thing becomes very, very clear, which is called common sense. I believe there is nothing called common sense. You really have to share it, because there will be those two, three people who will actually don't understand. And in a team environment, it is very important that you share everything in detail and specific for that particular maybe two or three individuals who is not really understanding it. So common sense is important to share. It is not that you assume that everybody should know it, or this is something which is very simple and I don't need to explain it. And last but not the least, what I want to share, and this is something which is very, very, I have learned with my own experience, is communication is not just about talking. Communication is not just about listening. Communication is also about using something which is called silence. And silence is the power of communication. Because when you hit a pause and when you ask a question and you hit the pause, you get information. And knowledge is power. And the more knowledge you have, the more influence you can get, or you can make that influence to the other party. So use silence judiciously. Use silence, because silence is very uncomfortable and it makes the other person talk. And that will give you knowledge, that will give you power to influence. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you, Devesh, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Abroop, to making us understand about what is the power of speaking. So, thank you very much once again. Our next speaker is Abhishek Devraj. Let me introduce Abhishek before I invite him on stage. Abhishek Devraj is a learning and development professional with extensive training experience in language proficiency as per CEFR, a public speaker with expertise in impromptu speeches and an accomplished leader since academic life, has extensive experience in education, accreditation, entrepreneurship, and mentoring students. I'm handing over the stage to you, Abhishek. All the best.
Today, we are going to learn about cross section of pipes students. But, sir, why are we going to learn about cross sections? Because it is part of your syllabus. Thank you, PSAI and Devesh, for giving me this dais. My fellow speakers and the audience listening us through LinkedIn Live. Be it the cross section of the pipe, be it the cosine in the trigonometry, or be it the history of Indus Valley. We all have struggled one or the other time. And when we asked our teachers why we are doing it, we were told more often than not that it's part of our syllabus. However, if they had gone ahead and communicated with us that because learning this would help you develop an understanding of where you come from, an understanding of problem solving, or an understanding of visual problem solving, we would have been influenced to understand those subjects in a better manner. Why communicating properly is important to influence is because when we have communicated the why, how becomes easy. More often than not, when we are speaking as a leader to our followers, to our fellows, We fail to communicate why, and we fail to influence. My dear friends, when we are thinking of influence, we think of Instagram influencers, YouTube influencers. No, we influence even our spouses and our kids. When we communicate properly, we make sure that the task gets done as it has to be done. Similarly, in our organizations, as a leader, be it at the lower management level, middle level, higher level, floor level, or the C suite, the clear communication of the objectives, why they have to be achieved, how they have to be achieved, is very crucial to influence our followers. Today, more often than not, we often say, "How's the Josh?" And the answer comes, "Hi, sir." However, if you close your eyes and remember the scene, the objective and the task was clearly communicated. And then the individuals in those scenes were willing to jump and jump higher to achieve those objectives. If you are, to conclude, willing to influence your followers, your colleagues, your spouses, your family members, learn to communicate in a very clear manner as to what you want to achieve, whether you want to have pasta at dinner or you want a premium mobile at home. Communicate what you want, why you want, how you want to influence people around you. Thank you. Over to you, Divesh.
Thank you very much, Abhishek. It is very good to know that communicating the why, the how becomes easy. Thank you very much. So, our next speaker is Anand Iyer. Let me introduce Anand before I invite him on stage. Anand Iyer is the founder and CEO of AI Squared, a published author of AI Riches series and a book on manifestation. An AI evangelist, coach, and mentor, he created the AI Riches framework to help professionals and women on career to leverage AI for multiple income streams, empowering them to thrive in the digital economy. Anand, the stage is all yours. Thank you very much and all the best.
So, good evening, good morning, good afternoon for people joining all over the world in this live stream. I am Anand and I am going to talk about from chaos to clarity. The key to influence is communication. So, before I start, I want to tell you a story. In July 2023, I stood at a crossroad in my life. I had just walked away from the comfort of a well paying job and the kind that offers predictability, stability, and sense of security. But deep down, I knew I wanted to do something more. I wanted to build something of my own, but for others. So I wanted to leave a legacy. I had a plan, or at least I thought, but then something happened that changed everything. One morning, in should have been a routine start to my day, I slipped in the bathroom and bam, it was a quick, unexpected, and instant snap. My wrist was fractured. Now, that may not sound like the end of the world, right? But there was one problem. I am a right-handed person. And as I sat there with my wrist immobilized, my plans began to unravel. The small, everyday things like typing, writing, even holding a spoon became frustratingly difficult. Everything I had envisioned, the new business, the fresh start, suddenly felt impossible. And it wasn't just the injury. Financial stress hit hard. The severance package that I had counted on was running out faster than I was expecting. Legal troubles were piling up. I was entangled in a police case related to my role as a secretary of my housing society. It felt like a storm that wouldn't end. I was completely stuck. No way forward, no way back. And then at the lowest point, something unexpected happened. A friend introduced me to something I had never heard of before, Ho'oponopono. It's an ancient Hawaiian practice of healing and clearing negative energy. It sounded too simple to be real, but at that point, I was willing to try anything. So I started. I repeated the words: I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Yes, it's as simple as repeating these four things, four words. At first, it just felt like words. But over time, something began to shift. Not in my circumstances that came later, but within me. For the first time in months, I felt clarity. During one of the sessions, I remembered of a story I had heard long back, the story of Acres of Diamond, the story that changed everything for me. So Ali Hafar, the wealthy farmer, sold his land in search of diamonds. He traveled around the world spending all his money until he died broken and penniless. The irony, the very land he sold was later discovered to be sitting on one of the richest diamond mines ever found. And I realized I was Ali Hafid. I had spent months searching outside my the real treasure. My skills, my experience, my story had been all with me. And then something clicked. I looked at my name, Anand Iyer, and then I saw two letters, AI. It was right in front of me all along. Artificial intelligence was just something I was interested in. It was my true calling. I realized that AI could empower millions of people, especially professionals in small businesses, to build something for themselves, to create opportunities, to generate income, to take control of their future. And that was the birth of my startup AI Squared, which is Anand Iyer multiplied by artificial intelligence, which is AI Squared. And my mission to help 1 billion people by leveraging AI to create multiple streams of income. But here's what I learned: clarity changes everything. I had the skills, but skills don't create influence, communication does. The moment I could clearly articulate who I am, what I stand for, how can I help others, everything changed. So isn't about power. Influence isn't about the status or titles. Influence is all about communication. Think about the most influential people: Gandhiji, Martin Luther King Jr., Steve Jobs. What made them great? Not money, not titles. They knew how to communicate a vision that people believed in. They didn't just speak, they inspired. They didn't just inform, they transformed. And that, my friends, is why effective communication is the key to influence. Because when you speak with clarity, when you can articulate your ideas in a way that moves people, when the words inspire action, you become unstoppable. So, the lesson I leave you with right now: every single one of you has acres of diamonds within you. You may not be able to see them yet, but they are there. And the only way to uncover them, start communicating. Share your story, speak your ideas, find your voice, because your greatest power isn't in what you know, it's in your ability to communicate what you know in a way that changes lives. And when you do that, you will influence the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anand. What an impactful talk. Skill does not create influence, communication does. That's such a powerful statement. So, next speaker is Bhavna Karkera. And let me introduce Bhavna before I invite her on virtual stage. Bhavna is an MDS by qualification and a licensed emotional intelligence trainer and coach by passion. Her vision is to create a multidimensional support system for younger generation, nurturing their emotional intelligence, mental well-being, social skills, empowering them to become strong, compassionate individuals who positively impact society and future generation. Such a nice thought, Bhavna. Bhavna, over to you and all the very best.
Thank you. Very good evening to everyone. Thank you for that kind introduction, Devesh. Thank you, PSAI, for giving us this platform to express our opinions here today. Thank you so much. Let me start by asking you, have you ever been in a conversation where you felt completely unheard? And how did you feel at that moment? Now, just imagine if that one moment was to define your confidence and your personality for the rest of your life, how would you like it? Not very much, I'm sure. As an emotional intelligence trainer and a coach, I deal with parents, teachers, and young adults. In my work, One thing I'm very clear about is that good communication is at the heart of everything that we do. Because communication is something that builds relationships. It defines our ability to guide and to inspire people. And in the sessions that I have, I always observe that communication can either create a barrier or it can build bridges. And that depends upon how we pursue things, how we listen, how we convey. If we go back in history and go into the lives of certain important people like Albert Einstein or Thomas Edison, we will be able to understand that the success that they got was not a result of just their talent and intelligence. Their success was shaped by the words and the encouragement of people who truly believed in them, even when the whole world didn't. Dr. Daniel Goleman, who is an expert in emotional intelligence, he tells us that when we are out of tune with our own emotions, we will never be able to read into the emotions of others. And that is very true in my line of work too. If I need to connect with my clients, if I need to influence them, I need to understand their emotions. If I walk into a session where I am disoriented or I am distracted, the young person who's sitting in front of me will not be able to express themselves and I'll lose my opportunity to connect with them. But if I'm able to control my emotions, if I'm able to be very relaxed and I'm able to be very attentive, so I can read into their thoughts, their emotions, their fears, and their aspirations. And that will help me to connect better and to influence them. So connection is very important to influence someone. Coming to another simple truth, people don't just hear your words, people feel the emotion. And though what you're saying is very, very important, how you say it is even more important. That makes all the difference. A child who's struggling with confidence doesn't need to be reprimanded or doesn't need to be given a lecture of how to put in more effort. Rather, he has to be encouraged by making him believe in himself. So, kind and thoughtful words also help a lot to influence people. Coming to another key aspect of effective communication, I feel active listening is a very important part. Through the years, what I have come to understand is that if you really need to help people, you don't have to just give them answers to everything. Rather, you need to give them a space to express themselves very freely. And you need to listen to them without judging, because true influence happens only when you listen without judgment. So if you want to be a good influencer, listen before you speak. Uh, Dr. Carol Dweck, she is someone who's done a lot of work on mindsets. So she tells that even if a single person tells a child, that I believe in you, that can change the child's life and it can change the child's future. So that is the power of the word. And this is an excellent example. If we see the media mogul Oprah Winfrey's life, she is a superb example for this philosophy. So that means our words are not something that can just bring out a message. Our words can even shape personalities and identities. To conclude, what I would like to say that as the elder generation, as parents, as teachers, as mentors, we have a lot of power to influence the younger generation. When we understand them, listen to them without judgment, when we communicate with empathy, when we guide them with clarity and not with authority, we have tremendous power to transform their hearts, their minds, and their lives. And that transformation can be seen in society as well. So, yes, I definitely feel that effective communication is the key to influence, and I am using it very powerfully in the work that I'm doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bhavna, for that and telling us about the importance of words for to influence others. That is so very important. Our next speaker is Hina Azad. So let me introduce Hina before I invite her. Hina Azad is a people development enthusiast, an artist at heart, and engineer by qualification, and learning and development leader by expertise. Driven by the belief that knowledge empowers, she champions continuous learning and growth, inspires others to unlock their potential through innovative training and development. Hina, the virtual stage is all yours. All the best. Is Hina there? Okay, so just let me know who is there. I will invite accordingly. Is Hina there?
Hi, thank you. Am I audible?
Hi, welcome. All the best. Yeah.
Thank you.
Please
Thank you
go.
so much. We are all shaped by our words. We are the outcome of the words that we hear, the words that we speak, the words
Okay,
that we
so
believe in, and most importantly, how we
just let me know
remember.
who is there. I will invite accordingly.
It was in the afternoon when I was sitting and lost in the thoughts of after the exams, I was lost in the thoughts of the scores and the result when my Nanyami looked at my
Is Hina
anxious
there?
face. Yes, am I audible? Hi, thank you. Am I audible?
Hi, welcome. All the best. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Please
you
go.
so much. Okay. We are all shaped by our words. We are the outcome of the words that we hear. I'm sorry,
the
I'm
words that
listening
we
to a
speak,
repetition of my
the
own
words
voice.
that we
So
believe in.
And most importantly, how we
just let me
remember.
know who is there. I will invite accordingly.
Afternoon when I was sitting and lost in the thoughts of after the exams, I was lost in the thoughts of the scores.
Hi, thank you.
Hi, Devesh, I'm there. I'm
Welcome.
seeing
All
a
the best.
lag in
Yeah.
your voice.
Thank you so much. We are all shaped by our
So,
words.
Hina, I understand that the live is playing on your LinkedIn. Could you close that window, please?
Let me know who is there. I will.
So, Hina, once you have closed the LinkedIn window, you can
Hi,
come back.
thank you. Thank you so much for helping me out there. Am I audible and visible to everyone?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Hi, am I audible and visible?
Yes, Hina, you are. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So, thank you, Anupriya. We'll take it from the beginning then. Okay. So, I believe that we are all shaped out of the words. The words bring us who we really are. The words that we speak, the words that we hear, the words that influence us, the beliefs, the words that we believe in, and most importantly, how we remember. It was in an afternoon after the exams had finished. I was sitting and lost in the thoughts of the scores and the result that would be coming. My Nanyami saw me anxious and she came and sat beside me. Placing her hand on mine, she said, I was married way too early to ever complete my schooling, so I made sure that all of my children were postgraduates. And I'm proud that not even them, but also my granddaughters are well educated and are pursuing engineering. I may not have the score of merits to show that I'm successful, but that doesn't mean that I'm not. Our actions and our efforts define our success. Always remember, it is the efforts that you make define who you are, and that's all that you can do. No matter what the result is, you're always the winner. Those words stayed with me for all my life and shaped me to become who I am today, a woman of substance, an award winning coach, as well as a hardworking person. I also believe that words create marvels. They hold eternal energy. सूरा सो पहचानिए जो लड़े दीन के हेत पुरजा पुरजा कट मरे कभो न छड्डे खेत. These were the words of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, which echoed in 17th century, but still stand the transformative potential and power to influence the characters. The scriptures of all the faiths in the world have emphasized on the timeless wisdom of thoughtful and effective communication. The Holy Quran speaks of concise and clear communication, the importance of it, stating, وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا, and speak good words to people. The Bible says, And the fitty words are like golden apples in the setting of silver. And who can forget the most influential book of the world, Bhagavad Gita, is an outcome of effective communication between Sri Krishna and his disciple Arjun. In one of the sessions that I took, facing adversity with grit, I experienced a moment that deepened my faith in the power of effective communication and the influence that it brings in. A participant unmuted, sharing his experience of what he went through after losing his father during the COVID, the struggles and the loss, the fears and the hopelessness. He said that he had lost all hope, but after attending the session, he felt a shift. He saw that there is hope in his life, that there are people that he can love, and there is a future he needs to build. He thanked me, saying, Hina, I feel more empowered because I can now acknowledge that I cannot change my past, but you surely gave me the guidance that I can create a better future by living for those who are in my present. And that moment was a transformative moment in my career as well. We, as effective communicators, need only to be honest, we can just be great communicators and influence people by truly being good listeners, understanding who the people are, and most importantly, then addressing our notes according to them. As Sri Krishna has said to Arjun in chapter 17, verse 15, Arjun, we are the outcome of the words that we take and that define our action. So our speech need to have the four characteristics. First, it should never agitate anyone. Second, it should be truthful. Third, it should always be for the benefit of the listeners. And fourth, it should be motivated for the welfare of those to whom it is addressed. My friends, you and I together remembering these small virtues can become great communicators, effective communicators, and bring in greater influence in the lives of people. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. So, we are celebrating the Impactful Speakers Award today, and our next speaker is Meenakshi Ranganathan. Meenakshi is a chartered accountant and a CFA with 12 years of work experience in risk and finance in financial services field, and she is a Bharatnatyam dancer, an avid reader, runner, and a trekker. Let's welcome Meenakshi.
Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, Meenakshi, you are audible. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Has this ever happened to you that you have been in a seminar or a conference and you see the speaker on the stage, but in the audience, most of it, 90% of the audience is on their phone? I'm sure this has happened to all of us. With the expansion of social media, it is said that a human attention span has reduced to 8 seconds. Yes, that's right, 8 seconds. It is even less than that of a goldfish, which is 9 seconds. Which means that as a speaker, if you need to influence the audience, you need to grab the attention of the audience within the first 8 seconds itself. Yes, that's right, 8 seconds. Such a less time to hook the attention of the audience. But don't worry, I have a solution for that. To truly influence an audience, it is very important to establish a connection. And this can only be done through effective communication. It is often said that if the audience is sleeping, it's time to wake up the speaker. Yes, it's time for the speakers to wake up so that we influence the audience. And that can be done only through establishing a connection within the first 8 seconds. And this can be done only through effective storytelling. I believe that each one of us has a unique story to share with the world. and each of our stories deserve to be heard. A population of 8 billion. So we have a minimum of 8 billion stories to share. Now I'm thinking, why would the audience want to listen to my story? What is so unique about my story that it would want to connect with the audience? I would say that if in a group of 100 people, even if one person connected with my story or resonated with my story, the job of being influential has been done. It's a tick in the box. Now, for the audience who's thinking, what is in it for me? It is our job as speakers, as effective communicators, to give a key, strong takeaway to the audience. To make the story go from me to we. Why would the audience want to listen to my story? Only because I have a strong takeaway for them, a call to action that they can implement in their lives. Hence, I genuinely believe that effective communication is the key to influence, and you can only influence through connecting with the audience by storytelling and then having a strong takeaway so that the audience can go and implement that in their lives. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Meenakshi. And, we have all the beautiful and lovely speakers from all walks of life. And next speaker is Menka Manik Raj. Dr. Menka Manik Raj is a pediatric dentist, science communicator, and performing art and critical thinking educator with over 20 years of experience working closely with children. A passionate advocate for reclaiming childhood, she conducts workshops on self regulating screen time and social skills through drama, driving transformative change in schools and communities. She's a proud mom of two teenagers. Let's welcome Menka Manikraj.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, Dr. Menka.
Yes. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the lovely introduction. So today the topic given to us is effective. Effective communication is the key to impact. And the reason why I even decided to participate in this contest is because I think this really resonated with me. So I'd like to start with saying that a person, a thought or an idea is only as good as the person who's communicating it. So even the greatest stories or the greatest discoveries or the greatest thoughts would have been lost if the person decided to keep it to themselves and did not share their dream or their thought with the world. Now, coming to what I think makes communication effective is number one, I would put authenticity. So the authenticity of the speaker. Are you speaking on this topic because it's trending or because that's what you think people need? Or are you speaking about it because you truly believe or you were truly moved by it, touched by it, or maybe even angered by it? So like the famous Tamil poet Bharadiyar said, உற்றவர் நாட்டவர் ஊரார் இவர்க்கு உண்மைகள் கூறி இனியன செய்தல் நற்றவம் ஆவது கண்டீர் இதில் நல்ல பெருந்தவம் யாதொன்றும் இல்லை, which translates to, it's the most sacred thing or the most spiritual thing to experience would be to share with the world your knowledge, the wisdom, and your truth. And that is the greatest spiritual or the best meditation that you could ever do. So I go by his words, and I do believe that the authenticity of your communication shines through not just in your words, but in the way you say it, in your body language, in your words, in your facial expressions, tones and pauses and all these things, because you truly embody what you're saying. And this I have also experienced in many cases where I have spoken about something or after a speech or after an interaction, when people come to me and said that we are moved by this only because we saw how much you are moved by it. So I think it is really important that the connection that you make with your audience, even if it is a topic that is new to them, connects to them when the speaker really connects with it. Secondly, I think a very important part is the expertise in the subject. So the expertise comes from how much time and effort have you actually invested in investigating this topic or in actually learning about this subject or issue or problem. And that will come across to your audience when there is an interaction session or when there is a question and answer, when you're being challenged, is when the depth of your knowledge would be tested. And that will further inculcate confidence in your audience in you. And I think the third one would be very, very important, which is relatability. How relatable are you able to make your topic with your audience? How relatable are you as a person to your audience? How well do you understand the people that you're speaking with? So if the message that you're giving, if the examples and anecdotes that you're able to relate to your audience is relatable and it resonates with them, then you form a connection that will translate into action. So like I said in my earlier talk also, I think effective communication is something that translates into the desired action. And for it to translate into desired action, these three things are very important. The authenticity and genuineness of the message or the topic that you're speaking, the relatability, and the expertise in the subject. And I also want to touch upon how it's your message is not just in your words, your communication or how effective you are is not just your words, but in how well aligned your body language, your words, your expressions, and your tone is with the message that you're giving. So in all, I think how you leave your audience feeling, I think there is a quote about it. It's not people will remember for not what you said, but how you made them feel. I think that is what I would like to end my talk with today. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Menka. Yes, you're absolutely right. When we don't share our ideas, we are just like unused libraries. So, before we move ahead to our next speaker, let me tell you about another award by PSAI, that is the Voice of Influence Award. Just create a shout out on social media that you are live and let your followers know how you are impacting and influencing. So, let me introduce our next speaker, Mr. Naveen Singhania. Naveen Singhania is a fitness enthusiast and a marathon runner from Shillong. He is leading a team with 19 people at his business. He loves reading, writing, and singing. He loves animals and wants to bring a positive change in their status quo with his effective communication and persuasion skills. Let's welcome Mr. Naveen Singhania. I think is there is some network issue. So, okay, he's there.
So,
There is
Preeti,
some connection issue, I guess.
let's move on to the next speaker. We'll get back Naveen later.
Sure. So let's welcome Rajendra Kaur. Rajendra Kaur, a soft skills trainer, public speaking, and voice coach, passionate about helping professionals communicate with confidence and impact. With experience as a recruiter, company secretary, and teacher, she brings practical insights to elevate your communication skills. She believes in giving skills to your voice and voice to your skills. Let's welcome Rajendra Kaur.
Thank you so much for such a wonderful introduction. What if I told you that a single sentence spoken with confidence could change the course of history? Let me back this up with an anecdote about the India's first five-star general, Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw, who's known not only for his strategic excellence, but also for his wit, clarity, and ability to inspire. It was 1971 during the Indo Pak War. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi called a high level meeting to discuss the next military action against Pakistan. She asked General Sam Manekshaw, "Are we ready for the war?" He didn't rush into an answer. Instead, with his signature wit and confidence, he replied, "I'm always ready. I am always ready if you want me to go in now, but I guarantee you a defeat. If you allow me time to prepare, I guarantee you victory." That wasn't just a response, it was a masterclass in communication. He spoke with clarity, confidence, and conviction. And 6 months later, India won one of its most decisive military victories. What made Manekshaw a legendary leader? His ability to influence, not just with strategy, but with communication. Influence isn't about authority, it's about how well you convey ideas, inspire action, and earn the trust. Now, think about it. Steve Jobs turned Apple into a cult brand, not just with innovation, but with storytelling. Oprah Winfrey built an empire making people feel seen and heard. That's how you build connection, right? Elon Musk can shift global market with just one tweet. That's how powerful communication is. Great communicators don't just inform, they inspire, persuade, and move people to action. So, how can you communicate like an influential leader? Here's what I have learned and framed a 3C concept. It is simple yet powerful. Clarity of purpose. Before you speak, ask yourself, what is one message I want to give my audience today to remember? Example, instead of saying we have a good plan, say this plan will increase the efficiency by, say, 30%. The second is confidence. Confidence isn't about being loud, it's about conviction. Avoid phrases like, I think, maybe, stand tall. Use a steady voice and own your message. The third, connect. It is very important. When you have an emotional connect with the audience, you can influence. Use stories instead of just facts. Remember, it's always about your audience. So use the you language more. So I leave you here with this challenge today. The next time you speak, whether to one person or thousand, ask yourself, am I just talking or am I truly connecting? Am I moving minds, hearts, and actions? So go out there, speak with clarity of purpose, confidence, and build connection. The world is waiting to hear your voice. Master the art of communication, and you hold the key to influence. Thank you so much.
That was wonderful, very beautiful, very beautifully. You have told us that am I just talking or truly connecting? This is a beautiful line or a takeaway for us. So let's again welcome Naveen Singhania if his network is working now, the fitness enthusiast and marathon runner from Shillong. Okay. So probably his network is not working right now. Let's welcome another speaker for tonight, Jyoti Malkhani. CA Jyoti Malkhani is a distinguished educator, trainer, and consultant with a remarkable track record of mentoring over 40,000 professionals and students. As a business consultant, she coaches entrepreneurs to build processes with focus on bottom line, scale up businesses, and realign strategies for sustainable growth. She empowers businesses with strategic financial guidance. Let's welcome Jyoti Malkhani. Is there some network issue? So,
Jyoti, you need to come on camera and you'll be live. You are live. You need to come on camera.
I think there is some network issue. Probably she is unable to switch on her camera or unmute herself. So let's welcome Lokesh Nathani, if he's here. Lokesh Nathani is a sales coach, trainer, and consultant, motivational speaker, storyteller, and a TEDx speaker. Post his 25 years of corporate life, Lokesh chose to be a storyteller to inspire and influence people through the power of stories and life lessons, thereby helping them lead a happy, healthy, and wealthy life. In the last 5 years, Lokesh has conducted over 200 training and motivational sessions and have also helped 150 plus inspiring speakers with their story curation. Let's listen to Lokesh.
Hi, good evening. Is my voice audible and clear?
Yes,
Am I audible?
yes, you are audible.
Can you give? Sure. Thanks so much. So, effective communication to me is the one that meets the purpose of communication and the content has a context as well. In my professional speaking space, whenever I'm asking my clients, what is that you want to give to your attendees or what is the purpose of this training or session? I normally get one simple reply, just motivate them so that they can deliver better. Now imagine how good is this brief for a 90 minutes to 240-minute session? It's tough, right? So in my early days, I used to wonder, what should I prepare and deliver? How do I help the client to find out what exactly that he is looking for? I look back at my first innings in the corporate sector in the financial services industry and try to figure out, is there a parallel between the challenge that I'm facing now and the challenge that I used to face those days? In financial services industry, when I used to meet my clients and I used to ask them, what is that you're expecting from your investments? And the typical reply that I used to get was best returns. Now, it took me a while to understand and convey to the client that best returns means different things, different for different people. I asked myself, how do I get out of this? Normally, when I used to get stuck with my self communication, I used to give myself multiple options and then used to rate them or pick the most important one. We humans find it very, very easy when we are given multiple choices. So rather than asking what they want from the investments, I started to give them multiple options. That completely changed my game, the way I used to communicate and talk to my investors. And it really helped me garner a lot of sales and do very, very well. Fast forward 10 years as a professional trainer and speaker, I no longer ask my client, what is that you're looking from the session? Let me give you an example. After the initial conversation and ice breaking, my conversation goes like this. Sir, if I had to ask you, what are your pain points or issues that you want me to address, which out of the four will be your top pick? For example, are they working as a team or in isolation? Do they fear failure and do not try enough? Do you see lack of ownership? Do you sense lack of energy or commitment? To add fun to this conversation, I also tell them, sir, you can phone a friend. So if I'm talking to a CEO, I tell him you can phone your HR head or your head of sales to find out more. Or if I'm talking to the HR head, I'll tell her that why don't you call your leadership team to get the right pick. Now, these questions are customized based on the homework that I've done on the company and the person that I'm speaking to. Many a times, I impromptu create questions based on the inputs that I get from them. To summarize, effective communication to me is the one that meets a purpose. It can be selling something or sharing a life lesson or help someone find answers one is looking for. If my communication does not help you to get what you're looking for, I think my communication is ineffective. To make the communication more effective, one also needs to align the king and the queen. For me, the context is the king and the content is the queen. As I conclude, let me ask you a question. If you have to choose a winner tonight, or your definition of effective communication, what will you prefer? And your choices are the following. You can type in the chat box as option one or two or three or four. Option number one, great orator. Number two, speak with content that is in sync with the context. Number three, great command over English. Or number four, communication that helps in finding solutions and meet the purpose. Thank you so much for patient hearing. That is my take on effective communication. Thank you.
Wow, that's so wonderful. That's beautiful. For me, that's number 4. Okay, I love that. Content is the king, context is the king, and content is the queen. Wow, there are so many takeaways today, and all these speakers are adding so much of value. So, what are your takeaways, dear audience? Just write in your comments. And now let me introduce our next speaker, Ratika Rastogi. She's an alumni of the London College of Fashion with 15 years of industry experience. She blends fashion, psychology, and life insights to create the impact. As a fashion psychologist and speaker, she decodes the connection between style and identity, helping the individuals craft empowered, authentic lives. Let's welcome Ratika Rastogi.
Good evening. Thank you so much for a beautiful introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, thought leaders and change makers. So, the last time we spoke, we uncovered a truth about effective communication, that it is just not about speaking, but about listening, understanding, and delivering a message that moves people. But today, I want to go deeper. I want to talk to you about how communication just goes beyond words. Because influence, like in the sense of true influence, it is the pause before a powerful statement. It's the energy in your voice and the confidence in your posture that makes all the difference. Think about Martin Luther King Jr. His words were legendary. It was his tone, it was his rhythm, and it is his ability to connect with people that made him feel so powerful as if the listeners felt that he was actually talking to them. That's influence. So think about a simple thank you. You know, when you say it with a lot of warmth and appreciation, it just feels something. But you could also say it flatly without any meaning. You know, the word is the same, it means the same, but impact is of day and night. Because here's the secret: people will forget how you made them, what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. So if you truly want to influence, whether it's on stage or on your LinkedIn post or in your meetings, you really need to understand the 3 pillars that are extremely important. First is the power of silence. Every great communicator knows exactly when to pause. You know, their speech is not cluttered with a lot of noise. They make an impact by pausing, because in that process, the listener listens, he absorbs, he thinks, and he connects. A pause somewhere has more power than 1,000 words being said. Second is the energy over voice. What energy are you entering a room with? I'm sure we have faced a lot of all of that, that, you're in a meeting and there's this gentleman or some person coming and delivering a keynote or a presentation. It's the tone, it's your body language, it's the aura, the enthusiasm in what you deliver that makes all the difference. Because if you do not believe what you say, how do you expect others to believe you? Third most important thing is storytelling. It is an art that needs to be woven into your conversations while you deliver a message. So when your emotions are delivered beautifully into the message that you want to convey, it's like a painting. It's like a picture. So paint that picture with your emotions, because people relate more to stories. They connect with stories. So my challenge to you today is that when you next time communicate, whether it's on stage, in a meeting, or a LinkedIn post for that matter, ask yourself 3 things. Am I making people feel something? Am I using my energy over my words? Or am I just listening as much as I'm speaking? Because the moment you stop speaking and start listening, your voice shifts from an ordinary voice to a voice that matters. And guys, that's the key to the power of great communication, and also the key to true influence. So here, that's all I have to make. That is all that I need to say, that before we speak, we need to listen, because only after listening will we be able to craft the right stories, the right narratives, and use our energy, use all our enthusiasm, because we need to believe what we say and what we deliver. It's the conviction that will eventually make all the difference. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Hope I'm audible. I'm Primrose Jasmine. I'm pretty new to PSAI, but let me tell you, I feel as if I belong with this tribe. I'm vibing with the tribe. All right. Now, um, all right. So, hope I can proceed with the introduction of the next person. All right. Wonderful. Thank you for that. Go ahead. Now, I would like to invite the next speaker, Deepa. Deepa is a leadership facilitator, ICF PCC coach, and self mastery expert. She empowers leaders to achieve success with balance. With 20 plus years of experience in HR leadership across top corporations, she enables deep transformation through conscious leadership journeys. A TEDx speaker, mandala artist, and dancer and performer, she blends psychology, spirituality, and coaching for impactful inside out growth. So, over to Deepa for the next 4 minutes.
Thank you. Can you hear me clear?
Yes.
Thank you. So, as I was reflecting on this topic, effective communication as a key to influence, what came to me was the Indian ancient epic, the Mahabharata. You know, there comes a special moment when the war is about to start. Arjuna, the warrior king, is right in the middle of the battlefield, and his charioteer, who is Lord Krishna himself, is there with him. But there comes a moment of despondency, self doubt. Arjuna drops his bow and says, I am not ready to fight my kith and king. At this moment, what did Krishna do? He empathized, and through different stories, narrative, metaphors, he guided Arjuna to see his purpose, to see his dharma. he influenced him to fight the war. And to me, this is the biggest lesson in communication to influence. And till date, I'm talking about it, which means it's a testimony of how many years or how many generations it has stood. And also, when I was reflecting on this, it was very interesting to see for me communication and the word commune. Both of them have the same Latin roots, which is to come together and to create something from this communion. So, which means when we communicate, there is a creation, there is a shared understanding, there is a sense of togetherness. Now, how do you know that your communication is effective and it influences? So, there are 7 key aspects of influence, and I have made a short acronym which is called CONNECT. Each one has something, and I'll share with you. C. When you say C, the communication has to have clarity. So let me take the same example of Sri Krishna and Arjuna. The Lord Krishna was very, very clear that Arjuna is fighting for dharma. And he made it very clear in his communication through different narratives that you are fighting for dharma. His communication was clear. O is openness. Now, openness is about trust. It's about vulnerability. It's about being open to what the opposite person is going through. In this case, Lord Krishna was open to whatever Arjuna was sharing. And that's why he could engage in a dialogue and not just thrust upon his point. N. The first N is about narrative. Stories inspire. They influence for you to make the task happen. Same is what Krishna did. Krishna gave a lot of narratives and examples for every point that Arjuna raised. And that's how we see the entire Mahabharata and the Bhagavad Gita unfold. Because all the conversation that happened has become the Bhagavad Gita, which many of us have read and live in our daily life. The next N is about non-verbal. It's not just what you speak, but it's also about the essence, the energy of how you speak. And Lord Krishna's steady demeanor and very calm, he was very calm and composed, enabled Arjuna to share more and verbalize all his doubts and get clarity about it. E. E is empathy. Empathy is about listening and understanding. He was able to empathize. He did not rubbish the fears that Arjuna was experiencing, but he could understand and give him a solution. C. C is about connection. The seed of this whole conversation was about Krishna being able to be where Arjuna was, be where he was, and from that space influence. And that's why this is a wonderful mentor-disciple duo. And T stands for the timing and the tone, the way Krishna brought it at the timing when there was high level of despondency right in the middle of the battlefield. Else Arjuna would not have felt this doubt and would not have been able to clear his thought process. So if you really see that if your communication is not able to influence, one of these 7 aspects somewhere needs to be altered. So friends, I invite you, if you want to influence in your next communication, are you just talking or speaking, or are you connecting? Are you paying attention to one of these 7 or all of these 7 attributes, which are key to communication and influence? And if you are doing so, you're actually influencing. You're not just influencing, you're building bridges. You are communicating a vision, you're inspiring, and you are enabling everybody to be aligned to your purpose. Thank you.
You need to unmute yourself, Jasmine.
Yeah, sorry about that. All right. Thank you so much for that insightful speech. Now, moving on to the next speaker, Dr. Anjana Vinod comes with over 3 decades of experience in the field of learning and development as well as heading HR department. Her work has been spread across industries ranging from banking retail, pharma, manufacturing, IT communication, entertainment, and government organizations, to individuals coaching, and has facilitated sessions for more than a couple of lakh people across the nation and parts of the globe. Now, over to Dr. Anjana for the next 4 minutes.
Thank you so much. Now, as you can see the background, trust me, it's not my house. I'm at the airport. What better way and what better place to talk about communication? How many of us have traveled by airlines and have got stuck with no communication happening across from any of the airlines? Flight delayed, not delayed, luggage come, not come, so many things, right? And what happens when somebody empathetically comes and tells you, I do understand it's a problem, but you know what? There's a technical error. Instead of saying that, somebody comes and tells you that, you know what? There's a technical error, and we want to make sure your life is really important for us. We rather not take you on a flight which may have problems mid-air. Suddenly you feel so connected, correct? Suddenly you feel so important. And when you start feeling important, what does typically happen? You feel connected, you feel important, you feel respected, and you want to trust that person. You know that this is going to go good, no matter what the world says. Because you have had a good experience, we stick on and hold on to that experience. The world's bad experiences does not influence us in any manner. And that's the power of communication when you influence people. Let me tell you all a quick story. I've been a compulsive story blogger. So a story about a king. He gets up completely stalked in the morning and he says, call the minister right now. The minister comes running and says, Oh my lord, king, you're sweating so badly. What exactly happened to you? He said, You know what? I had a very bad dream. Please call the best dream predictor in our kingdom. I really want to tell him what my dream is and understand what it means. What is the universe giving me the message? The two best dream predictors were called. The king told the first dream predictor, while the other one was outside, I had a dream. I was alone in the entire castle, walking like a zombie. I'm really scared. I don't know what it means. The dream predictors quickly calculated his date of birth, time of birth, everything, and he said, Oh my God, king, that's really bad. You know what? Your dream says that you're going to be the sole runner in the kingdom. Everybody in your castle is going to die. The king felt very offended, put him in the dungeon. While the second dream predictor, when he came inside, the king told him the same thing about his dreams. I was alone in the castle. Quickly did the calculations and he said, Oh my God, you need to be a king to have a horoscope like this. I am so amazed. And the king was totally surprised. He's like, Really? What does the dream mean? He said, It means that you're going to be the longest living monarch in this kingdom, king. Can you believe that? Not only your children, grandchildren, great grandchildren, look at the generations you're going to be guiding. We are so lucky to have you in our kingdom, sir. Thank you so much for having this dream. Both meant the same, but how you say it makes a difference. You can influence somebody if you have the knack to communicate in the language that that person understands. And we all do that, trust me. Talk to a child, we talk like a child. Talk to a grown up, we talk like a grown up. Talk to a buddy, and we talk like a buddy, don't we? We all do this. So, technically speaking, we all are experts. But the only thing is, are we consciously aware of it? I would like to end by saying influencing and communication go hand in hand. You never know who you are influencing, you never know how you are influencing. People listen to you whether you talk or you don't. So you might as well be careful of what you say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Anjana, for enlightening us with that speech. Next, let me quickly welcome the next speaker, Naveen Singhania. He's a fitness enthusiast and marathon runner from Shillong. He's leading a team with 19 people in his business. He loves reading, writing, and singing. He loves animals and wants to bring a positive change in their status quo with his effective communication and persuasion skills. Over to you, Naveen, for the next 4 minutes.
On December 21st, 2024, I was at Coimbatore on a spiritual retreat where people came from all over India. And while around at 11 p.m. in the night, We were sitting in the living room discussing about our daily lives after having completed our spiritual sessions. I told everyone there that apart from being a part of this spiritual session, I'm also learning how to communicate effectively. And while I was saying this, I noticed one person who was looking straight into my eyes with a frown on his forehead. His name was Jairam, and he was holding a managerial position in L&T company, Maharashtra. And he said to me, Naveen, why do you need to learn how to communicate effectively from someone else? Just go and speak in front of 50 people multiple times and you'll learn it. I have done it. And I thought I should say to him something. And I said, Jairam, you don't know how, after learning how to communicate effectively, I have changed my life. Just around 3 years back, I was not able even to give a 1 minute speech, not even a 1 minute sales pitch to my customers and my clients because of all the negative comments and negative excuses they had for me to push me away. And after learning how to communicate effectively, not only my every sales pitch lasts for more than 15 minutes, on many occasions, these same clients have offered me a hot cup of coffee. In the last 1 year, I've been able to increase my sales revenue by 19%. And not only that, I've also closed two big deals, two big sales with the top two clients of my state. And while I was saying this, I was looking that everyone was listening to me there. But since it was late, we all went to bed. And in the next 3 days, that retreat got over and we all went back to our state and our cities. On January 15, I got a message from my coach and she said, Naveen, PSI is running a speakers challenge. And if you want to participate, this is the last day. So in just 3 hours, I prepared all those formalities. I filled up the form. I prepared my speech and submitted my nomination. And what do I see in the next day? I had been nominated. I was so happy and energized because of the appreciation and congratulations I was getting from Facebook and WhatsApp. But do you know what made me actually happy? It's when I got a call from someone and he said, Hi Naveen, how are you? I said, Yes, who is speaking? And he said, It's Jairam. Do you remember? We met at the spiritual retreat at Coimbatore. I said, Yes, Jairam, how are you? And he said, Congratulations, you have won the PSI Speakers Challenge. I'm so happy to know that. And I said, Jairam, I think you heard something wrong. I haven't won it. I have just been nominated. He said, Oh, really? Anyways, I remember what you told me that day about communication. And I wish you all the best for your future. And he hung up. And as soon as I kept my phone, I sat on my chair and I was thinking, in the last 2 days, I was getting all this appreciation and congratulations on WhatsApp and Facebook, but no one called me personally. But the only one person who called me was that same person who was challenging me that day that why do you need to learn how to communicate effectively? And I was thinking, and a smile came to my face, and I was thinking, might be that day I had communicated effectively. So I had influenced him because of which he called me personally. So I would like to know from you all, how many of you would like to know how to communicate effectively? How many of you would like to know how to disarm your clients and customers from all the negative excuses and negative ready-made questions which stop you from giving a powerful presentation? How many of you would like to know the name of my coach? Please say yes in the chat box. And if I am able to see more than 5 yeses in the chat box, I think even today, I've been able to communicate effectively to influence you to say yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Naveen, for sharing that personal inspirational story with us. Now, moving on to the next speaker, let me introduce Rajneesh Kapoor. Brings in a unique blend of leadership experience from the defense and corporate sectors. In the corporate world, he successfully turned around two companies driving operational excellence. Passionate about building high performance teams, he now focuses on executive and team coaching. He also hosts a weekly LinkedIn podcast on leadership matters. Over to Rajneesh for the next 4 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
You are.
Thank you. Thank you. So, good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here with all of you today to share my thoughts on this topic of effective communication is key to influencing. And let me start by narrating a story from my childhood. In the early 70s, my father was working with Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited in their Ranipur plant. And we had about 100 Russian people who were there as consultants. In our club, I remember in the open air theater in the evening, they would run the Russian movies every day. And we crazy kids would go and sit down, even in the winters or summers, and watch the Russian cartoons. And I remember a lot of war movies. Not a single word made sense to us, yet we understood what was happening there. In fact, we could narrate the story back to back because some of the movies were repeated so frequently. And when they were repeated so frequently, we could see what we missed the last time. Cut to 80s when I was in the National Defense Academy studying military history. So much of context got created in my mind by watching those movies made sense. Now let's come to our current life. As leaders, as professionals, as parents, we need to interact every day with people. We need to understand them and we need to convey our thoughts and ideas so that we could come to a common ground and move things forward. And so one can say that if you need to really work with others, you need to interact with them and you need to communicate with them. It's that simple. But is it that simple? And a smile comes to my face when I think of this quote by George Bernard Shaw, which said that the single biggest problem of communication is the illusion that it has taken place. Have you personally come across such illusion in your life? So many times when I have told something to my team, to someone, it has been misunderstood, misrepresented, and sometimes acted upon totally in a wrong manner. That is kind of confusion that can create by miscommunication. And yet, I remember with great, enjoyment in the late 80s, watching Zubin Mehta conduct the New York Philharmonic. Almost 100 musicians who were moving in sway with his hand, where the baton in his hand was going up and down, his emotions, and everybody was in perfect sync. And we as audience were in raptures, one wave after another, an electrifying environment. Imagine if a leader can create this kind of an electrifying environment by the magic of his words, by his sheer presence, and importantly, by understanding what his team is feeling, what his team is thinking. So let's look at some of the things which leaders can do to create this kind of an influence. The starting point, as I think so many of my other fellow speakers have highlighted, communication is not a one-way process, it's about active listening. So if leaders are able to actively listen to people, they bring in respect and empathy. They bring in perfect understanding. There's a transparency and honesty. There's an emotional connect. If you can understand the perspective of the other person, if you can wear his shoes and see how things look from that side, you can bring in better alignment in what you are doing. You can bring in an alignment and you can convert your words into understanding and understanding into action. And now let's look at the leadership issues which I handle on a day-to-day basis. I think one of the important things that a leader can do is to develop courage in his team. How does that courage come? That courage comes by creating a space where everybody can speak. Communication is also about allowing other person to speak, allowing each one of our team members and us to rumble with our vulnerabilities, to understand each other correctly, to cover each other's bases, and then move forward. So I want to close today with a thought with you. What do you think could be that one thing that leader should create so that he can develop effective communication in his team? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rajneesh, for that insightful speech. Now, let me introduce the next speaker. Sarika Puri is a career and life strategist, corporate trainer, and coach dedicated to empowering professionals with strategic clarity, leadership skills, and personal branding. With the holistic approach, she blends emotional intelligence, business acumen, and mindset coaching to drive impactful transformation. She's also the founder of Soul Piano Studio and an aspiring author. Over to Sarika for the next 4 minutes.
Thank you so much. I hope you're able to hear me.
Yes.
Okay. Why is effective communication the key to influence? Hi, everyone. I'm Sarika Puri, and I'm excited to be here with all of you today. Let's start with a simple question. What makes a leader truly influential? Is it their title, their expertise, or the number of years that they have worked? No, it's their ability to communicate effectively. I learned this firsthand while leading a team at my previous organization. I was building the team right from scratch to a large size of 60. Well, all from different backgrounds, different perspectives, and different work styles. So, my biggest challenge wasn't strategy or execution, it was ensuring clarity, connection, and trust. During the lockdown, when face to face interactions disappeared, I saw how easy it was for miscommunication to break teams apart. Messages got lost in translation, misunderstandings led to frustration. So, I made communication my priority. I started organizing virtual coffee chats, lunches, and dinners, and not just to discuss work, but to create a safe space where my team could connect, share, and be heard. And do you know what happened? Those casual conversations helped build trust. They helped us navigate challenges, resolve conflicts easily, and most importantly, created a sense of belonging. My team wasn't just working together, we were thriving together. This experience taught me three key lessons about effective communication and influence. Listening is more powerful than speaking. What do we mean by that? True influence doesn't come from having the loudest voice in the room. It comes from making people feel heard. How you say something matters more than what you say. That's the second point. Research shows that 93% of communication is non-verbal. Your tone, your gestures, your energy creates the biggest impact than your words. And number three, the best communicators simplify, they don't complicate. Whether you're leading a team, you're negotiating a deal, or delivering a presentation, clarity always wins. Keep it simple, direct, and meaningful. Today, when I see my former team members applying these principles with their respective teams, I realize that effective communication isn't just about influence, it's about creating a ripple effect. And that makes me extremely proud. So, I leave you with this thought. Are you listening more than you speak? Are your words intentional? Because influence isn't about what we say, but it's about how we make others feel. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarika, for leaving us with that thought provoking question. Now, let me introduce the next speaker. CA Jyoti Malkani is a distinguished educator, trainer, and consultant with a remarkable track record of mentoring over 40,000 professionals and students. With a decade of experience in the BFSI sector, she has excelled at risk management, process automation, and financial strategy. Trust with business and focus on delivery has been the key to growth of her corporate career. Over to Jyoti for the next 4 minutes.
All right. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. Thank you, Jasmine, for that wonderful introduction. And Thanks to everyone at the Professional Speakers Association to give an opportunity to speakers like us to come forward and, display their speech on how to influence through effective communication. Now, the best part about communication is already said. A lot of people have come forward and talked about their viewpoints, how we can make it impactful, the 3 C's, how there could be a difference that you make in the minds of people. And it's really fantastic. I've been patiently listening to everybody. It's been beautiful and a lot of learning. The reason why I joined this concept of the impactful speaker award is because I wanted to test myself. Where do I stand? Where do I know? How can I communicate? Okay, and what a better example of an effective communication than this platform has given to me is the power of listening. We've all been talking about active listening, and we do in our effective communication programs as well. How important is listening? And today it was a power packed knowledge takeaway for me as an individual who would want to grow. And that is the beauty of leaving an impact. How would you choose to be remembered? This comes from something called as credibility. Credibility, in my view, is equal to impact. If you want to create an impact in the minds of people over and above the communication that you do, it's about bringing in credibility, bringing about what you have done, what are your experiences that you bring to the table. Okay, I'll give you a very, very simple example. Being a business consultant, I know one of my a new startup who was looking for investments used to look out for investments in his investors forum, and I used to always work on the pitch deck with him and advise him as to how he could go and win on that investment. Every single time he used to come back and say that the pitch deck only has numbers, it's not giving me more information than that. My business is solving a bigger problem, and I am here to tell you that this is the project that I'm working on, and it has a larger impact on a larger set of audience. And I said, just 1 minute, just try speaking on numbers only and address what they want to listen. Because as an investor, he or she would be investing money based on the numbers. Those are facts. Those are evidences that will build your credibility. When you go for an investor pitch or an elevator pitch or any sort of a pitch deck, it's not about you, it's about them. What do they see? And that is precisely what I truly believe as communication to be influential. He did that, and finally, yes, we're closing on some things. But this actually brings to light the significance of what is there in it for me. If you are capable of giving your audience that listening ear, if you are attentive to what they want to listen and feed them with the right kind of information based by facts and data, is what I truly believe in, is where you create an impact. That is how I would choose to be remembered, as somebody who creates an impact. Oh, this is what I learned from you. Not because I talked about myself, but because I talked about something that added value to somebody else's life. So thank you, Professional Speakers Association, for giving me this opportunity, this wonderful opportunity to speak on this forum. And indeed, it's been an honor. Thank you.
You're welcome, Jyoti. Thank you so much for your speech. Now, let me introduce the next speaker. Satinder Kaur has over 3 decades of experience in banking and consulting, specializing in service innovation and operational transformation. She has led large-scale initiatives at ICICI Bank and worked with DBS Bank and Tata Capital. She consults on process optimization while exploring AI's role in enhancing corporate efficiency. Satinder, the next 4 minutes is for you.
Yeah, thank you. You can hear me? I'm clear?
Yes, you're clear.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for this kind introduction. It's the first time I'm speaking to an open audience, despite 4 decades experience in corporate life. My learnings have been immense just in this one PSAI initiative. I must thank PSAI and all the people who encouraged me to participate and then take this forward on this journey. Let me share my thoughts on why effective communication is the key to influence. What makes a person truly influential? Is it their knowledge? Is it their position? Or is it their experience? Influence isn't about having the best ideas. It's about making sure those ideas are heard, they are understood, and they are acted upon. I learned this firsthand while leading a transformation project. The project was to streamline decision making through automation for loan applications. Technology was in place, but the real challenge was not execution. It was getting people to believe in it. I realized that people feared that automation would reduce their influence over key decisions. Influence is a very big thing in the corporate world. That realization shaped my understanding of effective communication to influence. Effective communication builds trust, creates connection, and inspires action. But don't just take my word for it. Let's validate this with experience. First, communication builds trust. Influence begins with trust, and trust begins with clarity. If people don't understand you, they can't trust you. And if they don't trust you, they won't follow you. But trust isn't just about being clear. It's about being credible. Credibility comes from knowing your subject and being honest. In the corporate world, trust is built when leaders communicate transparently, share accurate data, and answer questions behind every decision. In the transformation project, people wanted to know whether their expertise would be devalued. Would they be sidelined? The only way to influence them was through clear and honest communication. I explained how automation would complement human judgment and that expertise was still essential. Second, communication creates connection. People don't just follow ideas, they follow people. Influence happens when your words connect with others on an emotional level. Picture a child looking up at an adult. When we want to connect with a child, what do we instinctively do? We bend down, we sit at their level and meet their eyes. That's physical, but symbolically, it's about understanding their perspective. It's about speaking at their level, in their language, so they grasp what we are saying. We don't just speak from where we stand, we adjust to where the audience is. In my case, employees were concerned about themselves. Instead of pushing technical details, I reframed the conversation to focus on how automation would help them make better and faster decisions. Once I addressed their concerns, transition became smoother. Third thing, communication inspires action. Words move people. History's most influential leaders, business icons, and change makers didn't just present information. They communicated a vision that made people take action. In my project, people started seeing opportunities. They began to drive the transition, identifying areas where they could maximize potential. It happened because communication had shifted from informing to influencing. This enforced what I had always believed. Effective communication is the key to influence. The most compelling speakers sound natural because they have prepared to make their message stronger and practice to make the delivery better. Trust me, I recorded the previous speech 13 times, heard it again and again, just to try and improvise it. As leaders, professionals, and change makers, we must master the art of communication to influence. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Satinder, for your speech. Now, let me quickly move on to the next speaker, Sudeep Chawla. Sudeep Chawla is passionate about storytelling, which he uses significantly in his career as a marketer and a people leader. He's heading marketing at Syntex and has worked with Cadbury and Pidilite in the past. He employs storytelling, I should say, into teaching marketing courses, and he's also a co-host of a marketing podcast called COB, Conversation Over Business of Brands. Sudeep Chawla, the next 4 minutes is for you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot, Jasmine. And seems like it is a difficult act to follow Satinder because she had practiced her speech 13 times. I don't think I can claim that kind of effort, but let me share from the heart. February 2009, I found myself in a market called Daresi in Agra, in UP. I was working in a company called Cadbury, trying to sell my candy to wholesalers in Daresi. While I had a brand behind me, I saw a particular strange looking salesperson who was dressed in a black robe, had fake mustaches painted over his cheeks, had a long joker like black hat, and he had a blackboard hanging from his neck, a large blackboard. I was thoroughly confused to see somebody like that roaming around in the market. And when I did go closer to him, I realized that he was trying to sell unbranded churran, unbranded digestives to shopkeepers there. And he found an effective way to communicate his message, to draw their attention, and to say it in a sing-along manner such that the shopkeepers were at least giving him some amount of attention, definitely much more than what his brand deserved. And that is where I started observing how do different people create their methods of effectively communicating so that they are able to influence people in front of them. Over a period of time, with my experience of leading teams, creating marketing campaigns, which have convinced a lot of you who are sitting here to eat some of the products that you would have eaten, my discovery was very simple and I would want to share it with you. I found that the communication that inspires people, millions of people across the world, when you communicate from the brand side or from the leader's side, that communication is always created from the heart. If the communication gets created from there, it always tends to create inspiration. And when you're able to add another important ingredient to it, which is empathy for the listener. The purpose of communication always is to communicate something to the person sitting in front of you. So the onus of communication, onus of understanding is on the communicator and not on the listener. So therefore, when I saw combination of inspirational from the heart communication and a great deal of empathy for the listener as to what they are understanding and what they are not understanding, what they're likely to understand, what they're not likely to understand, in what language should you speak, at what pace should you speak, how should your gestures be, where should you look, etc., etc. When you put so much concentrated effort behind preparing the context around your speech, you are able to create what I would possibly imagine is effective communication. The core purpose, I believe, of effective communication is to create conviction. Once you are able to create conviction in anybody's heart, it becomes very easy to influence their thinking, their beliefs, and their actions. So if there is one thing that I can leave you guys with from all my years of marketing experience and roaming around in streets of UP, Delhi, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu, Kashmir, Kerala, Gujarat, and Maharashtra, and believe me, I have worked in all of these places, I can tell you this: communicate from the heart, have empathy for the listener, and try to create conviction in the person who is receiving your communication. And if you are able to sell your conviction, you can sell them anything and everything, and you can inspire them to do anything that they want in their life. I would like to end it by reciting a small Hindi couplet. किसी को मनाना है तो दिल के दरवाजों को खोलना होगा. अब influencing somebody is about convincing them. So किसी को मनाना है तो दिल के दरवाजों को खोलना होगा और दिल के दरवाजों के लिए कुछ इफेक्टिव बोलना होगा. आइए हम सब मिलकर सबको पॉजिटिव इन्फ्लुएंस करते हैं। आइए, पीएसआई ने हम सबको साथ में बुलाया है। ऑल ऑफ अस आर हियर टुगेदर अंडर द अम्ब्रेला ऑफ पीएसएआई। सो आइए हम सब मिलकर सबको पॉजिटिव इन्फ्लुएंस करते हैं, लोगों के कानों में दिलों को छूने वाली इफेक्टिव कम्युनिकेशन भरते हैं। थैंक यू वेरी मच। धन्यवाद।
Thank you so much, Sudeep. Now let me introduce the next speaker, Vijay Seshadri, a dynamic leadership coach, professional speaker, and business leader with over 2 decades of experience driving transformation. An impactful storyteller, passionate about developing the next generation of leaders, he inspires them to embrace change, cultivate a growth mindset, and practical strategies that drive success. Over to Vijay for the next 4 minutes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the introduction. Thank you, PSI, for this platform. And also a good evening to all. Just do or die. Just said, do or just die. Now you're thinking, what's happening? Why is he saying that? Is he upset because he's one of the last one to speak? No. Let me take you back to 1942. A great man spoke to a massive crowd in the street of Mumbai and said these same words: do or die. We shall free our country or die trying for it. This powerful slogan created one of the massive movements in the history called Quit India Movement, which eventually paved way for our independence. Yes, the great man was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. One speech, one moment changed the path for the entire nation. Now, let me fast forward you to 2024. India was playing the T20 Cricket World Cup, and our best batsman Virat Kohli was not scoring runs. He comes into bat, gets out, goes back to the dressing room, hanging his head down. Then a moment of beautiful magic happened. Rahul Dravid, who's the coach of the Indian cricket team, walked past Virat and just tapped. Yes, you heard me right. He just tapped. But what an incredible message. It just said, it's okay. We trust you. And trust is what Virat repaid with when he scored big in the finals and helped India win the World Cup. Now think about these two situations. Scenario one, where Mahatma Gandhi used the fiercest of words to inspire a nation. On the other hand, Rahul Dravid used one of the most subtle body language to inspire an individual. Yet, both were powerful, purposeful, and influenced people to act. That is the power of communication. It can change your ideas into action, words into movements, and speakers into leaders. All of us, whether you're a leader rallying around your team, or an entrepreneur trying to pitch your idea, or even a parent who's trying to guide their children, we all have this feeling. Why are we not heard? Why are they not listening to me? Right? It's the same cry all across. Where we fail to understand is that the art of influencing is closely tied to how effectively you can communicate. Be it Steve Jobs from the business world or Mahendra Singh Dhoni from a cricket field, the power of their influence not only came from their ideas, but the way they communicated their ideas. In 2007, when Apple launched its first iPhone, Steve Jobs said, Apple is reinventing the phone. And since then, this is no longer a device that is used only for speaking, but to do many things else, right? That's how powerful words can inspire a generation and help us move forward. So if you want to be influential, communicate with clarity. Clarity ensures conviction. Communicate with purpose. Purpose ensures emotional connect. Finally, listen actively before you speak. Because when you listen, you build trust, and trust is the foundation. And trust is the foundation for effective influencing. I was influenced by an effective communication as well. When somebody told me after a couple of decades of corporate experience, who are you beyond your titles? And that influenced me to take up public speaking. I see how we can influence people, the change in their eyes. So today, whether it's corporates or conferences or colleges or even NGOs, speaking helps me inspire people because one communication changed me, and that's how I give back to the society. So the next time you want to communicate, make sure that you communicate with intent because you never know who you will be inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vijay. Now, let me introduce the next speaker. Vijay Lakshmi is a multi-award winning global master coach and mentor with a rich background in management, human resources, and law. An acclaimed speaker on coaching and leadership, she believes in using her voice for good to lead with impact. She was honored as Distinguished Coach in the ICF Coaching Impact Awards 2024. Over to Vijay Lakshmi for the next 4 minutes. You can unmute yourself, Vijay Lakshmi.
Sorry, there goes technology. I said thank you, Jasmine, and good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to all those who have spared your time midweek to log into this special PSAI LinkedIn Live. I am assuming I'm the last one to go. That always makes it a tough act because there's lots been said and lots been spoken and a lot of inspiration. I did listen into a couple of the speakers and I feel quite inspired. So if there is a repetition, which is bound to be, I hope you will bear with me. And I hope this will be worth your time waiting till the end. A month ago, in the context of the PSAI Awards, for which we are here today, soon after I had posted a video on impact through effective leadership communication, I received a message from a well-meaning friend. While they were quite energized by my short talk, I also heard their concern on why, in an event organized by a professional speaking association, my message needed to highlight the aspect of communication being much more than the spoken word and beyond addressing large audiences on podiums. And added that such a stance may affect my chances at an award. Well, while that sounded quite logical and certainly came from a place of care that I respect a lot, it got me thinking. What was the real award here? What was the outcome that I desired, having invested myself in putting together a video on the eve of Pongal, which is a big festival here in the South, that I wish to share with the world? That made it even more clear to me that effective communication is about creating real lasting impact beyond the immediate task on hand or goal at sight. And such impact stems from a place of authenticity and being honest. In my worldview, communication had different forms: spoken, written, actions, and more. And it was important that I share this view as it was, unfiltered, and not tweak it based on a desired outcome. Because the impact of my communication, a short video with words in this context, had far reaching possibilities across time and place over the internet, more than I could ever imagine. A few days later, to my pleasant surprise, I received a LinkedIn message, a personal message from someone I didn't know at all, who introduced themselves and shared with me that my talk had given an introvert such as themselves the confidence and inspiration that anyone could communicate effectively in their own unique signature way. What more could I have asked for as a communicator? And that, my friends, is the impact of communication. I had also shared in my earlier video message that effective communication lays the foundation for leadership and had offered a 4C approach that leaders could embrace based completely on my own experience. The first being clarity of one's thoughts, not just thoughts, but also emotions, being very clear. It all starts here. caring with which it is offered to the recipient who is choosing to listen, like you are here today, the courage to deliver it as it is with honesty. And finally, a genuine intent and commitment to follow it through actions beyond mere words. What I say here today, you must see me in another setting doing it, acting upon it. Only then my words will carry the weight that it purposed to do. And this simple approach truly works wonders, whether it is aspiring to be an inspirational leader with influence or to be an impactful communicator and be a voice of influence. Today, I would also like to expand on the real meaning of impact. What does impact mean? Impact, to be truly impactful, needs to be enduring and sustainable. It is not about the here and now, creating a bright spark in the moment, leaving you at this moment with something that you find, amazing. It is about long lasting impact that cuts through time, place, and generations. Like some messages and speeches that stay as evergreen quotes over centuries. So, leaders who communicate effectively are creating long term, value rich impact through their words and actions. And such impact can cause a ripple effect that lies at the heart of any social change. So I'd like to conclude here with a 3-point message from my own little life and leadership book of communication. The first, anyone, and I mean anyone, can be an effective communicator when they approach it with intentionality and humility. Second, impactful communication could be a valuable part of every leader's toolkit. And the third, leaders have the power of influence. So it is every leader's responsibility to use their own voice for good and be a voice of good. I thank the PSI leadership and organizing team for inviting me here today to be a part of this special occasion and giving me the space to share my thoughts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vijayalakshmi. That was indeed a great show. Wonderful speakers. It was lovely to listen to each one of the finalists. All the best to you. Now, as we are in the last leg of this live event, I would like to ask the audience who are watching this, with only 10 days to the PSAI 2025 conference, which is going to happen on 21 and 22nd in Mumbai. If you would like to attend this conference, please show your interest in the chat and our team will connect with you. With that said, I would like to thank all the people who are in the backstage, who were the moderators, who were the speakers, for putting up this show. I thoroughly enjoyed the excitement in the session and I'm going to look forward for the upcoming conference. I'll see you all in PSAI 2025. Thank you.